And we're live.
Hi, welcome to the Libertarian Party of Texas Candidate Highlight. I'm Amanda Gibbs. I'm the comms director, and my co host is Nathan Polsky. He's part of our political action team. And today we are highlighting Dave Marino, who has multiple hats that he wears in the Libertarian Party.
But today he's a candidate.
Today he's a candidate. Hey,
Should I
Dave.
go? Should I share my many hats?
Yeah, go for it. Let's let
Uh,
everybody out there know who doesn't know who Dave Marino is. Who are you? How many hats do you have? And what are you running for?
well, I'm. You know how people say, "Get your California out of my Texas." Originally, I'm from California,
Uh
so
oh.
I don't know if you guys even knew that, but
Mhm.
from Los Angeles, no less.
It's okay.
So
You're
I was
cool. You can
born and
stay.
raised. But I got to Texas as fast as I could. Matter of fact, as soon as I crossed into Texas, I just stopped, which was in El Paso. So I spent 25 years in the Army, married, got two little boys and one big boy. And I've been the county chair for El Paso County since 2020. So this is my third term. I've been part of the select SD29 select rep since 2022, right?
Hmm.
Second term. And I'm a candidate now for El Paso County tax assessor collector. So,
That is a
and
mouthful.
I'm the campaign manager for Ryan Woodcraft's campaign. I encourage you to go and look at his interview that you guys did a couple
Because
weeks
Ryan
ago.
is amazing.
He's pretty cool. Yeah, he's
He
pretty
has a
cool.
really good campaign manager.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You get what you pay for. He's a pain in my yeah.
So, county tax collector assessor, right? That's the full
Yes,
title.
yes.
All right. So, what does somebody in that position do? We've got people. We've interviewed people that are running for a house district. They're running for state district. They're running for a county commissioner. What is the county commissioner, tax collector, assessor
No,
thing?
no commissioner.
No, sorry.
So the county. So interestingly enough, I wasn't even sure until I ran for that. I was assuming. So the let me go way back to the when I first thought about running for this office. I actually was. I didn't want to run for. I wanted to run for a county race, but my county commissioner race is not up this cycle. It won't be up until 2 years from now. So I was looking at a race to run. I actually was speaking to Billy Pierce, who's at the time he was the Harris County chair, Houston area, and he was like, "Why don't you run for tax assessor?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I looked into it, and I was like, I was thinking that this is the assessor collector. So this is the guy who manages the assessments on our properties, and reports it to CAD, and that's how our valuations get determined. And El Paso's got one of the highest property tax rates in the state of Texas, and almost I think it's like third national. So we had an outrageous property tax rate. So I'm like, you know what, this might be something good to run for. A libertarian running as a tax collector. It's kind of ironic too. Uh, so as I started to look into it, and I actually uh, spoke to the incumbent tax collector assessor, and he doesn't even refer to himself as a tax assessor. He just refers to him as the tax collector because essentially that's all he does. He just collects taxes. So after I dug into this rabbit hole, and then I really decided to do it. To be honest with you, the couple of primary reasons I ran for this seat. One is because LP Texas keeps getting consistently unconstitutionally uh, poll taxed in order to run our candidates for office with filing fees by the Republicans at the state house is charging us filing fees to run for office. So I didn't pay the filing fee very intentionally so that if LP Texas needs one more defendant on a lawsuit again, then they can put my name on it. If they decide to remove me from the ballot because I didn't pay the filing fee. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to run, was to intentionally not pay the filing fee so that LP Texas could file that lawsuit against the Secretary of State. And, hopefully we can get these filing fees removed so that the third largest political party in the nation can have people on the ballot without paying for the Republicans and Democrats primaries. So the second reason was because for me, it was kind of a social experiment. I want to know how many people are just so frustrated with the status quo in El Paso that when they see tax, they're going to vote for anybody but the incumbent. To be honest, that's exactly what I'm doing. I really want to know. I mean, a lot of people know who I am in the city, at least anybody that's politically active. That's not a whole lot of people in El Paso.
Mm. Population
So,
wise, right?
yeah, well, I mean, we have our voter turnout. I think our heaviest voter turnout, I think, was in 2020, surprisingly enough, and it was I think 48%, something like that. So
Wow, that's a good turnout though.
yeah,
Well, that was for a general though.
that was a general 2020.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I believe that or not, but that's what it said.
Presidential year and, you know,
Yeah, everything else that was going on, all the
mm,
Mhm.
everything that they did to get people to go out and vote, and the candidates, oh my God, can't have that guy winning. Uh, but I
most
really am
important.
curious about how that works. So, but as I dug into the tax assessor collector thing, and I actually spoke to the incumbent tax assessor collector, and I was like, I'm trying to find information. There's a slideshow on the Secretary of State's website that kind of breaks down some of the stuff. You got to have a bond and all this stuff in order to be a tax assessor. And as I was looking at it, and then so I ran into him at a meeting and sat down and talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I collect taxes for mostly vehicle registration is what he usually collects taxes for. I was like, so you have nothing to do with property taxes? He's like, nope. I was like, so why? I was like, do you have any power to influence the taxes that we pay in El Paso? And he's like, no, I
What?
just collect taxes. So I'm like, so why is this even an elected office?
Right. That sounds like an appointed
You
staff
should just,
position.
and interestingly enough, it may only be like that in El Paso because this is a county, so it's county by county. So he was saying that some county tax assessors collectors actually do have something to do with property taxes and stuff like that. But in El Paso, his job really is to just process vehicle registration fees and taxes, and distribute that money. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was shocked. So I really don't really feel that bad about running a really active campaign. And I had previously had already promised Ryan Woodcraft that I would be his campaign manager. So I didn't want to take a whole lot of effort and energy away from his campaign to run my own campaign. I didn't think that would be fair after, I kind of agreed, hey, if you do this, then I'll be your campaign manager and we'll work together. So it kind of worked out that way. But I learned a lot about the position and what it entails. And I was kind of shocked. So then another interesting fact is so I started digging into who does have something to do with property taxes in El Paso. So going down that rabbit hole, there's a central appraisal district like assessment board.
Hmm.
I think a couple of seats on it are actually elected seats that we can vote on, but the other ones are appointed. But they still don't really have any say in what the assessment is. The key person, after going down the rabbit hole some more, the key person that determines our property tax rate in El Paso, or our assessment, our valuations
Hmm.
for our home, is a district judge. Yes, it's a district judge. Which district judge? I still haven't found out.
I'm
Oh, we
assuming.
need to find that out and run somebody there.
Right?
I'm assuming it's a
So,
district judge over whatever district they represent.
well, this is a county. It's county assessments, though, county valuation. So, is there one district that's wholly contained in the whole, or is there one judge that would be over the whole county? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know really how those work. So,
I think valuations are typically done by, well,
school district.
well, well, that's school districts aren't valuating the property value. They're just coming up with here's the tax rate based on our budget that we want to set it to. But if you've got a district judge that could say all the properties in this district, here's what I'm valuating these properties at, and then another district judge is valuating the properties in their district. Maybe that's how they do it.
Bet Billy Pierce would know.
Well, that's the thing is it's a county by county thing. So what's happening in Harris
Okay.
may not be the same as what's happening in El Paso. So it is.
He's just that kind of nerd. That's why I said I think he would know.
He probably could find out.
Well, and so that would then be a, it's not a county law, it's a county ordinance or policy that would determine who does that. So that would be a county commissioner then who gets to make those
Ooh.
changes,
To the ordinances, sure.
and to determine who gets where that tax appraisal comes from or the assessment comes from.
Yeah.
I think we
Now you've
know.
got the wheels turning. We know somebody running
It's,
for county
to me,
commissioner.
it was mind-boggling that to be able to point, being one of the highest property
Mm-hmm.
taxes in the entire nation, to be able to point the finger at the person who would be most at fault for this, and
Shouldn't be that hard.
it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can point the finger at the five taxing entities we got, of course, but I mean, there's only one number that will raise all five of those, and that's your property valuations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something like 70 or 80% of everybody who contests their property valuations wins. There was one person who they had, I want to say it was a $400,000 house. Well, it was originally assessed at $400,000. They did they contested it, and they ended up getting it dropped by over $65,000. It's like, how did you mess up $65,000?
They didn't mess it up. They intentionally overvalued it so that, and hoped nobody would go out there and contest it.
Now, interestingly enough, the Texas, something else I learned about this is Texas state law penalizes county or assessments, the central appraisal districts. They're supposed to assess the values of the property between 95 and I think 105%. So the highest overvalue they can go is to 105%. But that's completely insane because everybody is getting 70 to 80%, or 70 to 80% contested are being approved, and it's way over the 105% mark.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of if you undersell or under assess properties, then the state will reduce your the amount of money they gave you for your school districts. So
I
Hmm.
mean,
it is just this crazy bureaucracy. As libertarians, we just hate the bureaucracies, and this is just one crazy bureaucracy, property taxes
well, we know
and I
there's a very simple fix to the property tax valuations.
eliminate it.
Exactly. Didn't have to worry
Um,
about it anymore.
But if he's got this $100,000 bond, I think if he wins, I think it's $100,000 that you have to carry personally
oh, it's
to
way more
do
than
all
that.
of this. It is.
It's
I was
oh yeah.
trying to look it up, but then we got distracted.
I want to say it's supposed to be equal to a certain percentage of all the taxes that you collect for the year. So it's an outrageous amount. So
So does that include licensing, like hunting licenses? Sorry, my
that's
East
state
Texas came
hunting
out
and
there
fishing
first.
license is a state thing. That's
Okay, so you wouldn't be responsible for that.
no,
It's
that's
just DMV stuff.
yeah. So
Well, so do you at least get to
interesting.
set the prices and rates for those?
Well, you do have a voice on the state level legislation and stuff that is passed down, like whether they're going to raise registration rates, or like there was one recently where they raised vehicle registrations for electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So he could, he said, he spoke about it, uh, but since it was being pushed by SD 29's state senator Cesar Blanco, uh, you know, there wasn't really much he was going to do. It was going to get passed. So
Mm-hmm.
he basically just instituted a program in order to be able to collect those funds, and that's it. So literally, if you called his office and talked to him, he would, basically just introduce himself as a tax collector.
So is he running again?
This is actually this would be his second term. I think he was appointed before. So this is actually the first. He actually had somebody, he's a Democrat. He had somebody primary against him in the primary, and he won pretty handedly. He campaigned a little bit. Real nice guy too. So
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 is it a two-way?
It's a two-way.
Or
It's just me and him, as far as I know. Nobody. The Republicans are only running 4 people in El Paso. A
in the
couple
whole
of
county.
congressionals, the one against Ryan, and then what's the other one? I think sheriff. Yeah. So you got sheriff, Ryan's, and then a couple of I think a U.S. Congress and maybe a state rep. I think, but there's only 4. All the rest are, and then me and Ryan, and then all the rest are uncontested in El Paso.
ugh, hate
Uncontested Democrats.
uncontested races.
I do too. I do too. So, and I try to talk to people, but politics is so toxic. I guess
It's one
got
of
to
the
have a
two
certain.
things you're
Uh-uh.
not allowed to talk about in family gatherings.
Right. I tell people.
Talk about
I
both of
just had
those.
a friend yesterday. I was at a baby shower, and my neighbor across the street, it was her brothers, and she's like, "You're the only neighbors I like, so I'm going to invite you over just to hang out." And I'm like, "Sure, but I'm gonna warn you. I'll tell them I'm going to talk about religion and politics." So another thing that's funny, I mean, I think the job pays like 200 grand a year or something like that. Or no, I think it's 125 grand a year. It actually pays more than the county commissioner job. So,
and
or
you're
maybe not anymore, since the county commissioners gave themselves a
and
16% pay raise.
and it's literally a sheriff of Nottingham position. Just go around and collect
Basically,
taxes.
just run around, collect taxes. That's,
Now,
I'm
Wow.
sure it's.
now, would you be the one that's actually collecting, or I'm assuming then you would have staff that would be the ones at the counter. They're the ones collecting, but you're the ones signing off on everything. Um, and what do you then do with the taxes that are collected? Do those need to be transferred somewhere? Do those get stored
Oh
in
yeah,
a vault?
they get transferred to the county.
Hmm.
Well, I think a portion of it goes to the county budget, and then a portion goes to the city budget. So, and then that gets filtered back in to pay for the tax assessor collector's office. So, it's interesting because he actually has an office at the county courthouse, and then he has I think an annex on the west side also. So, but she was real proud of that he got that annex open.
That the tax dollars pay for.
Actually, yeah,
Yes.
It's probably
it, it,
closer to his home.
it could be. Actually, probably is. You're probably right.
Oh, hey, it's a new annex is open! Yay! It's closer. It's it's closer to home.
Yeah. So
These are my office hours.
it's interesting. It's interesting. So I'm really curious though, how many votes I'll pull. Just not really. Actually, I think Ryan campaigns for me more than anybody else. So he's always like, "Are you the only libertarian running in El Paso?" No, Dave's running for tax assessors.
He's running too.
So you're campaigning for Ryan. He's campaigning for you. It's a
Yeah,
win-win, right?
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't. I'm not collecting any donations or anything
Hmm.
like that. So I'm filing my finance reports and zeroing it down the line. Uh, you know, that it didn't have. I didn't have to file. Another interesting one. I didn't even have to file a personal finance statement like most elected officials do, but the tax assessor did not have. It's not a requirement to file a personal finance statement because you have no influence. So
Gotcha.
once again, I wonder why it's even an elected position.
Must be a
Sounds like we
holdover
should
at
just
some
hire
point.
them.
Yeah. All right.
I
So
have a number for you to beat, Dave.
What's that?
You need to beat 52,045.
52,045 votes.
Yep. That's the number you have to beat Billy when he ran for tax
I,
assessor collector.
if I got 52,045 votes, I would probably win.
Saying.
No, because I'm thinking. See, I'm thinking Ryan's race.
yeah.
So that's half the voting in his precinct. So our turnout's probably better than that. Yeah. But yeah, it might be pretty close.
His
That'd be a good chunk.
population size is somewhat similar. I
Then
know
Harris?
the demographics are.
Then Harris? No,
Yeah.
we're a lot smaller. We're the sixth largest city. Harris is like the largest county,
Hmm.
I
Yes.
believe.
Yeah.
So our county population is probably 800,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was a
Because
little closer.
no, it's
So then aim for that 52,045.
There you go.
right.
New goal.
Yeah. Be nice if Ryan got 52,045 because that would be a win for him. I actually think Ryan could win with about 28. So
Just because of turnout.
yeah, because I think the turnout is probably about 52, somewhere around there for his precinct.
Get all
Hmm.
of those.
So yeah, so he'd pretty much sweep it.
There you go.
Not likely. It's going to be interesting.
And sorry, I interrupted you when you had a question.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Um, I was just gonna move on to a different topic
Okay, go for it.
if we're good with that. All right.
What's that?
All right. So, Dave, all of us have our story on how we became libertarian, why we decided to get involved with politics, and you moving from California and then just getting far enough in Texas to be like, I'm home. Um, what's your story? What got you involved in politics and, made you start wearing so many hats?
Oh boy. I don't really remember being all that interested in politics, just kind of disgusted with the whole thing. Uh, but then in 2012, which was the year before I retired from the Army, thankfully, I was going through my retirement physicals at the hospital, William Beaumont up here in El Paso. And I remember plain as day, I got in the car to drive back to my unit, and I was listening to some AM station, probably sports radio or something, but they had uh, Ron Paul's exit speech from Congress was on. So I know a lot of people got involved in the Libertarian Party through the Ron Paul Revolution and all that. I'm not one of those guys. That's not how Ron Paul got me. He got me through his exit speech from Congress. I started listening to him talking about the tax code and talking about the regime changes, the military interventions and all that. Like basically saying that we're the world's terrorist, and here I am in uniform, thinking to myself, "Whoa!" I really started because I've seen those things, around the world. Some people love us, but some people want us dead.
Hmm.
So um, and seeing the damages that we've caused in all these different locations overseas and in, even in South America, uh, it's it really brought everything to light for me, and just everything. It's a 45-minute exit speech, Ron Paul's exit speech, 2012. It's like 45 minutes long, and it just blew me. I drove all the way back to I sat in the parking lot and finished listening to it, and just everything he was saying was just blew me away, and it just completely changed the way I thought about politics. And I was like, man, but that's when I really felt like I should do something about it. Uh, I hadn't retired yet. I retired. I got married. Things went around, and I think I started just kind of researching. Actually, to be completely honest with you, I started reading my Bible again, and I started and considering going back to church, and it just something kept speak after listening to that speech and then getting back into the Bible. Something just kept speaking to me about, uh, from the New Testament, how it just seemed Jesus was very anti-empire. It was so he was so anti-empire. It took two of them to kill him. So the Jews and the Romans. So, but and the one where he's being tempted by the devil, and he says the devil stands up there and says, here are all the kingdoms of the world. They can be yours if you just bow to me. And what popped to me was, if the devil can give them the kingdoms of the world, that means they belong to him. The kingdoms of the world belong to the devil. So I just started looking at all this anti-government stuff, and then I started looking at libertarianism, started, reading into that. And then one day I just Googled, Christian libertarian. I found LCI. And then I started looking for the Libertarian Christian Institute, libertarianchristians.com. Give them a plug. It's one of my favorite libertarian organizations. And then I found the local party, which consisted of about four people,
Hmm.
and started attending the meetings and hanging out. I think about I got really active in 2016 with the Gary Johnson campaign, and uh, you know 2020 I decided that the guy, the county chair, in 2020, Darren Stone, he was like, I ain't doing it no more. So, and I was like, I'll do it. So that's how I ended up as county chair. In 2020, we had four people. Actually, in 2016 and 2020, we had 4 or 5 people at our county convention. And then this last county
Really?
convention, I had 23. So,
Yes.
It's a
so
slight
it's
increase.
yeah, slight increase. And to put that in perspective, as far as numbers go in El Paso, uh, the uh, the West Side Democrats had less than that at their convention. So
Wow.
you're like, we didn't have that at our meetings. I'm sure that the state convention was packed, but the Democrat.
Was it though? Did they even keep quorum the whole time?
No, they didn't. They
Oh,
lost
they didn't.
No, they lost quorum on Saturday.
That's funny.
I
Uh,
was like, man, us libertarians, we kept quorum.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we're a lot more dedicated, so
that's-
we have a lot more to fight for. They they
Liberty for everybody.
yeah. It's funny because at the local level, we're paying the highest property taxes in the state, and we have the lowest median income also. So all these economic things that you know uh, the city and county keep, oh, we're gonna economic boom and all this stuff, and we're gonna bring jobs to El Paso, and it's never worked. And 2 decades, 3 decades, it's never worked. But they keep talking about it, and they keep electing Democrats, and it's like that's at the local level. So you have complete failure of Democrats in politics at the local level, and at the state level, maybe they could have an effect, but they have no teeth at the state because the state's completely ran by Republicans. And then at the national level, it's like it all depends on which way which is leaning. Who's got the majority in the Congress, because it's all split almost 50-50 down the road. So everybody's just punching a ticket for a D or an R, but nobody really is paying attention to what effect that vote is having. And because it's either negative or it's having very little. It's like everybody that voted for Biden in the state of Texas wasted their vote
Mhm.
because Trump won Texas.
And
So
And
Texas,
if
everybody
there
talks
were
about
not
Texas.
winner takes all laws,
Oh yeah,
then it wouldn't be that way. If we were actually a representative government, we wouldn't be that way. I have a whole 3-minute TikTok video about that. So,
but it's interesting because it's the truth. And Ryan brought this up. Like every state where we know who's going to win, you know, Trump or whoever the Republican nominee is going to be is going to win Texas. So everybody that votes for the other person, Biden, in Texas, is wasting their vote. Everybody that votes for Trump in California is wasting their vote. If
Mhm.
all those people voted for the Libertarian, we would have a Libertarian president.
Mhm.
I like to look at it as not a wasted vote, but our votes are being silenced by the laws that have been put in place.
Oh yeah, the first past post. That's or you could blame it on the electoral college system, but I can't. I wouldn't want to get rid of the electoral college system.
Well, it's not.
I would not be opposed.
It's not an issue with the electoral college system. It's an issue with the way that states allocate their votes for the electoral college system. So that's what she was
To
saying.
where, yeah, to where, say, the Republican wins 51% of all of the popular vote. Then they get 51% of the electoral college in Texas. And then the Democrats get 46%, and they get 46% of that. And then, like, divvy it up like that. And then it would be more representative versus, hey, 51% said this. Now the rest of you, your votes don't matter.
Yeah.
And that's a state
Eh,
law, not it's not the electoral college. It's the state uh, rulings on that.
Yeah. And our
well,
favorite eminent domain user actually did a fine for faithless electors, $5,000 if you don't vote a specific way.
wow. Did you know in Australia you actually get fined if you don't vote?
What?
Yes. I'm in the LCI book club, and we got a guy from Australia that's on there. He's like, yeah, it's like $15 or something like that. But if you don't vote, they're gonna send you a ticket in the mail,
Force you to do your civic duty.
We have 100%
right?
voter turnout. I wonder why.
Yeah, right. Gonna get fined if you don't vote. So, God, don't give us no ideas.
Oh Lord. That is a vote. Me choosing to not vote is a vote.
Yeah, right. I mean, that would be my argument. I think there's a moral. Actually, the next book I think we're reading. Oh no, the book we're reading in October is dealing with the moral implications of voting.
Hmm.
So LCI has a book club every month, and it's you guys. Somebody should get on there because
What is the
actually
name
we
of
need
this
some
book
female
club?
representation. It's just a bunch of patriarchy up in there.
Oh, I will come and knock down the patriarchy.
I don't know what the book is. I have to look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. It's okay. I just wrote down
If you,
LCI book club. So,
yeah, if you look it up, you'll see it. I think the October one is dealing with the moral implications of voting or something like that. So should be interesting.
So with your experience, like, you've talked with people in El Paso. You've talked with apparently lots of Democrats as well. Do you believe though that people continue voting for the failed Democrat ideology in El Paso because of what they hope it's going to do based on the national level or what it's happening in other states? They see that and then they say, "Oh, well, I want that to happen here, so I'm going to vote Democrat regard and not pay attention. They just vote D."
I think they're paying attention. They're not paying attention at the local level. So what they're seeing is that, the way media, social media, and mainstream media is you have your echo chambers, right? So if you watch Fox News, you're probably a Republican. If you watch CNN, MSNBC, you're probably a Democrat. So that's what you're watching. You're watching your echo chamber, and all they're doing is telling you, if I'm a Democrat, all CNN and MSNBC is telling me is how horrible this monster of Donald Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
This monster, or these Republicans, they just keep doing this and this, and it's just the most horrible thing in the world. And we have to beat them. So that's what they're getting pounded into their head all the time. So when they go in to vote, that's all they're really thinking about is I have to vote for the D to oppose the R. That's it. So and not really knowing the implications or of what that means down ballot,
Mm-hmm.
at the county or well cities. Who you're voting for. To say the city reps are what is that, nonpartisan, but yeah,
you should know who they are before
we
you
know
vote
what
for
we
them.
know which way they lean.
Oh, absolutely. I had not so many people will come up during city elections and say, "Are you Republican or Democrat?" That's all they cared about. They don't care if
Yeah,
what your policies are, who you are, what your name is. It's just, are you an R or D?
yeah. And it's
Neither.
and it's just so it just amazes me because all these people speaking out at city council meetings and county commissioners court, posting in the neighborhood app and on Facebook and all the social media thing. That's all they do. Like you go, just I encourage you go on Facebook and look up the El Paso County or El Paso City's vote. El Paso City is right now currently has a, a campaign going on for public opinion about the upcoming budget talks because they do their budgeting in June, July, the talks, and then I think they vote on the budget in August. So they're you know asking for public input about the budget. And that's all you see is people like no more taxes, no more taxes, no more spending, quit buying stuff. We don't need an arena. We don't need this. We don't need that. Fix our roads.
My roads.
What the crazy, what about my roads, right? And the funny thing is El Paso didn't even have any money in their budget for the roads. So it's like, what about my roads? It's like, yeah, our tax money isn't even paying for that. So, so,
Who
uh,
pays for
so they actually, the thing, this is local politics probably throughout Texas, is we will use our general budget for things that we want,
Hmm.
and then we will borrow money for the things that we need.
Yep.
I'm going to build parks and water parks and artwork and all this other stuff with the stuff in our general budget. And then when the roads start falling apart and the people get so upset about the roads, we'll just post a $300 million bond And of course, they're going to say yes to it because the roads are horrible. Not realizing that you're basically putting your utility bills on the credit card and using your paycheck to go buy Xboxes. you know,
Sounds like these cities need to do some Dave Ramsey's financial peace.
they just need to start electing smarter people.
And,
That
and
would work too.
and I can agree with everything you just said there. Going to city council meetings and seeing the budget and where they're deciding to spend their money and what bonds they're trying to get. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah,
They say,
it is.
here's a new stadium, here's a new event center, um,
Golf courses. Don't
golf
forget my hate for
courses,
golf courses.
water park, whatever. Those come out of the general. Maybe a park budget if they want to make it a park thing, and then yeah, oh yeah, we need roads, so let's go and get a bond for roads. If you don't pass this bond, you don't get roads fixed.
I just found out that my neighbor's a fireman. He's a paramedic, uh, but fireman paramedic, and he found out that. So he's been on this committee trying to get to fill a bunch of, like, they're only filled about halfway of I think they're authorized like 600 paramedics, and they're only about like 280 or something like that. So he's been like, hey, we got this massive shortage of paramedics, and everybody's like, yeah, whatever. So they just kind of blew him off, and then he found out when they're doing these looking at the proposed budgets, that they're cutting the incentives by 41%. And I was like, yeah, they're just that's why they haven't filled the spots, because they're going to cut 41% of the incentives for paramedics, and they'll just say, well, nobody's going to lose their jobs, nobody's going to lose anything because the spots aren't filled already. So they're just going to cut the authorized amount. I was like, that's the way politics works. Nobody's going to complain about it because nobody's actually losing any money. But meanwhile, they're going to cut your incentives for paramedics, lifesavers in the city, and then they're going to shift that money for some walking trails at a park or something like that, something that we don't even need.
Oh, it's even better. It's artwork on the walking trails in the park.
we
Hold on.
we
We
have
cannot hate on art,
we
please.
have like but we have every single budget item that gets spent in El Paso, 2% of it has to go to art. It's like an ordinance. They passed this ordinance that says 2% of every dollar spent in El Paso has to go, an equivalent has to go to art. So that they have to spend like 4 million or $5 million a year on artwork in El
I
Paso.
need to be an artist in El Paso, apparently.
I mean, you don't even have to be a good one, because some of this stuff is just stupid. But and the most iconic art symbol in El Paso is that right there.
Hmm.
That
Please tell
star,
me it was done like
and it's done
guerrilla
by
style.
it's done maintained by the El Paso Chamber of Commerce, a private organization. No tax
Oh,
money, no taxpayer money spent. Well, it was actually a private citizen who started it, but he couldn't maintain it because the electric bill was just getting kind of ridiculous. So the El Paso Chamber came together and they funded. It actually changes colors now. And it's rainbow color now for Pride Month, and so they changed the colors and stuff. And
need,
it's all
need to
LED.
see that. I did not get to see that when I was in El Paso.
You can't miss it.
You just
Listen,
You
I
weren't
was
paying
trying to
attention.
pay attention to not accidentally exiting into Mexico.
It's okay.
I hear it's really
Or
difficult.
Shut up. I was the driver.
I've done it before. And I did it when I was in the military and it was off limits. Juarez was off limits, and I just didn't exit at the right time, and I was stuck in the line to go to Mexico. And the border patrol, the Mexican border patrol guy was like, "What are you doing in Mexico?" I was like, "I'm going right down there, turning around, and going right back." Just laughed. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I made the wrong exit.
Yeah.
So, Nathan, did you have any more questions?
What
Because I'm totally off script.
did I answer your last question about how I got to this point? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, I kind of
Yep.
got.
You got
Yeah,
it.
I kind of went through the whole thing.
Yep.
Roundabout.
I don't know
Well,
really how I got so involved in. You guys just sucked me in. I think that's what it is. That's what LP Texas does.
It was 100%. I'll take credit when I stood up at our select meeting where we were pitching El Paso, and I was like, we need to go to El Paso for Dave. That's what won you, right?
And Ted Brown, that
It was,
guy. Vote for
yeah,
Ted Brown for senator, by the way.
The better
Even
Ted.
though he didn't want to come to El Paso.
better Ted.
The better Ted. You guys going to do an interview with him?
Already did.
We've done one.
Oh, you did. I got to go back and watch that one now.
We got a lot of them up there right now.
I know, you
13,
guys
I
are
think.
rolling.
Yeah, well, a lot of the questions I have involve making decisions and working across party lines, but it doesn't sound like you need to do any of those in that position. You just need to collect money.
uh, Working across party lines, though, I actually got invited a year or so ago to speak at the El Paso Black Democrats. They just wanted to know more information about what a libertarian was. Very welcoming, and it was a very good talk. It's about 20 or 25 people, uh, and we had a good conversation. It
Awesome.
was interesting. So I've spoken at quite a few. I've been invited to Republican meetings and stuff, and I'll show up. They're trying to convert me, and it's hilarious.
No, thank you.
Nice try. It's like, if Republicans were anything about liberty, they wouldn't need a caucus for it.
No.
The
Yup.
Republican Liberty Caucus.
Yep.
I mean, if you had the Libertarian Liberty Caucus, that would just be, redundant.
Redundant.
These are the libertarians that actually care about liberty.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I know that you guys had, when we came out to El Paso, a little group of Republicans that came out and tried to get to know us. I mean, we were
Yeah.
friendly.
That was the vice chair of the GOP. And the previous
Glad you
chair
didn't
of the
tell me that
GOP
one.
show up. Yeah. The previous chair showed up. So, and then like a couple of the Republicans like applauded her when she walked in, and all of us libertarians were like,
Who's that?
"Who's
We
that?"
applaud anyone when they walk in the room.
No, we're not like that.
I
Not
don't
putting me
know.
on
I think we know what to do with Dave next time he walks into the room now.
that. All right. Oh, I'll do something. I'll deserve it by the end of it. But yeah, the Republicans pretty much, I think, have burned every bridge that they can in El Paso. They including our bridge. We had the chair of the Republican Liberty Caucus. So Ryan is on the Ethics Commission,
Mhm.
and one of the people that had an ethics complaint against her, they were talking about that complaint. I don't know what the actual. I think it was maybe determining what her punishment was. She wasn't even in office anymore, so not like the punishment would really matter. Um, but the chair of the RLC called in, and he's basically trying to defend her. Uh, and then at the very end, when he just ran out of time, he said, "And Ryan," and then "You're out of time, sir." His 3 minutes were up. So Ryan went. You can see it in the video too. It's on YouTube. The ethics commission. Ryan went. Like, what were you about to say?
Now I want
So,
to finish.
and then
Motion to extend time.
Ryan calls me. It's like, "Did you hear that?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard it." I was like, "I told you, don't trust them." So, but it's, I mean, they play and it's interesting because at least the Democrats are really honest. They don't really try to hide anything. You kind of know what you're getting with them. So,
Mhm.
so you got to give them credit for that. So,
They'll both stab you in the back. One's just more open about it.
yeah, exactly. Hey, here's the knife coming. So, but then at least they're not trying to say, "Oh, we're going to be on your side. We're going to be friends." And then, or trying to make deals like, "Hey, if you send me some people to my precinct convention, then, we'll invite you to talk somewhere or something like that." Or no,
Hard
I'm
pass.
not. I'm not playing. I'm not playing those games. So it's yep. Been doing this El Paso thing for a while. They pretty much know who I am and what they're going to get from me.
Well, let's hope that in November, everybody who goes out and votes for the county tax collector assessor, or we'll just call him the sheriff of Nottingham, that they don't vote for the incumbent and they vote for somebody different, and Dave either wins it or gets pretty darn close to winning.
It would be a.
Dave will win.
It's going to be impressive. It's going to be interesting. I'm really hopeful that Ryan Woodcraft's campaign. We're hoping that we can at least push it to a runoff.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get to a runoff just between him and the Democrat, I think he's got a real shot. So
I think you have a real shot too, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll see. God willing.
Let's turn
I
out
mean,
polls.
I don't deny God's ability to do anything in this world. So, and if I win this thing, it's going to be all because He's got some kind of plan for me and El Paso, obviously.
Let's turn El
But
Paso gold.
I tell you, if I tell you, and I've thought about this, like if there is some chance that I actually win this, oh, it's going to be hilarious because I am going to make some stinks, man. I'm going to talk about how much wasted money they're doing on my salary. Why is this even? Why are you wasting money on an elected position that has absolutely no influence or power? You know, why? I'm just going to use that as a platform to just expose all of the government waste. So
And this is why
Yeah.
you need to fire me and eliminate this position.
exactly, fire me, eliminate the position, and hire somebody that's qualified. Probably the guy that you just didn't elect.
All right. Well,
and educate yourselves on who you're voting for and what you're voting for.
Yes.
that would be
You should do
nice.
that anyhow.
That
Or
would
don't
definitely be
vote.
nice. Yeah.
Or don't vote.
We don't find people here for not voting.
That get out the vote thing drives me nuts because an ignorant vote is worse
Yes.
than not voting at all. And the ignorant vote is the reason why our country and our cities, all, from national all the way down to the city, is in such horrible political shape. The governments are just out of control, and it's because people just get out to vote. No, you got it. It's the ignorant vote that's got us where we're at now. So quit being ignorant and go educate yourself before you go vote. And guess what? I bet you we'd have a lot more libertarians in office.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
We're the only ones that are going to peacefully clean up this country.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
We're it. We're your last peaceful solution to the mess that this country's in.
Yep. So, do you have a place where if somebody wants to find out more about your campaign, I know you have your campaign manager hat on too. They want to find out about you as well as Ryan, where they can go and find out more info.
Yeah, woodcraftforelpaso.com. What is it? Oh, wow, lplpaso.com. It's lptexas.org. It's lptexas.org, right? So mine's lplpaso.org. That's the county website. So it's got more information about me as a county chair. I think there's on the candidate page, there's a little blurb about why I'm running, and it's just real short. And that's pretty much all the campaigning I'm doing. I'm open to interviews, or if anybody wants to talk to me about it, like this here, I'm happy to share all the information that I've gathered while running this campaign, I guess you'd call it. So,
It's a campaign. You're running.
we have. I know we talk about name only candidates. I don't really consider myself a name only candidate because I think I put more effort into it than that. And I'm willing to put more effort in. I mean, if anybody calls me, I'll do any interviews.
Mhm.
I'll talk about it at all. I am just not going to actively spend money that I don't have, and I don't want people spending money on an office that should not even be an elected office, anyways.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to ask for donations for a campaign that shouldn't even be in an elected office.
Mhm. All right. Well, I am also out of questions. So, Dave, do you have anything else you want to bring up? I know you said you probably weren't going to use up the whole hour. We're almost there.
Really?
We are.
I forgot how good I can talk. Well, we didn't stay on topic, so
There was a topic.
we kind of well, I thought we were just going to stay with the tax assessor collector thing, but we kind of went off on some tangents, which I'm okay with. That's what we do. So
It's this person's fault right down
Absolutely.
I know that's not pointing at me.
If anybody has wandered across this video on LP Texas's YouTube channel or wherever else it's been shown, I just want to say that the Texas affiliate of the Libertarian Party is some of the best people I have ever hung out with. Actually, hands down, it is the best people I've ever hung out with in the political environment. I mean, even you can look nationally at all the bickering and fighting and ugliness that we got going on with national libertarian politics and even libertarian politics in other states. You don't get that in Texas. Even if we disagree on some things, we still show love. We still hang out. I mean, we are a united front on almost every single thing that comes across, and that is what's kept me in this fight for as long as I've done it, which is getting close to a decade. So,
here.
so I really
I'm glad to be
appreciate the
part of that.
Libertarian Party of Texas.
Yes.
I mean, we do set the standard. We set the tone, right?
I tried on that one. Let's set the tone.
But I mean, we're passionate too. We're just as passionate as every other libertarian out there. So that's what you're going to get. And we just do it with Texas, but we do need to bring cowboy hats to the next national convention.
Nathan's been rocking one. Just
I
saying.
know.
Yeah, I just don't do
That's
them
why I
on here
pointed
because
at
I'm
him.
sticking off screen. About to wear one at the city council meeting. Well, Dave, thank you for being a part of the Libertarian Party of Texas. Thank you for hopping on this interview with us. And Noah's went off. Wasn't much of a script, but it kind of went off tangent a little bit. But it was still a great conversation. I hope a lot of people do get a chance to watch this interview and learn more about the Libertarian Party, learn more about the tax assessor collector in El Paso, which could be different than other counties, and
Absolutely.
why it should not exist. And also why you should vote for Dave for that position.
Absolutely. If you want to shake up the status quo, I'll do it.
I'm gonna pitch a shirt real quick. It's already on the LP Texas shop. It says FTSQ, fight the status quo.
It's not where I was going with that one.
That's not where I was going when I designed it.
Fight probably wasn't the appropriate F word.
Correct. But I wanted to make it user friendly, public
Yes,
facing friendly.
Safe for
that's
work.
true. I do take every opportunity I can to educate people. So, I mean, that's what I love to do. So,
T-shirts are great at that.
well, you would think so. The I don't have it here. The opposing empire since AD 33 shirt I wore at National got a lot of attention. So,
Nathan's like, oh, you T-shirt wearers. So
yeah.
Hey, I bought some.
you did.
I need to wear
Oh.
them. I'm waiting for them to come in so I can wear them, though.
I also have the "Don't Tread on Anyone," the Gadsden flag, but it says "Don't tread on anyone." But I think the shirt that I've got the most comments on, our pastor put out a shirt that says "Jesus is essential," and that's it, just big white letters. Jesus is essential, and he put it out during the pandemic when we were trying to determine what was essential. And, yeah, that one got a lot of attention.
I was really hoping you would say it was one of the shirts from LP Texas. Now I need to step up my game.
I know. I'd like that Do-si-do shirt. That's pretty good.
That's on my personal shop. That's not on LP Texas.
Oh, is that? Sorry. It should be. It's our treasurer now. No.
It should just be giving me money.
Okay. Sorry. You could
Anyhow,
it could be an affiliate thing.
we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
And we probably should wrap it up.
Yeah. Anyhow, again, so thank you everybody for joining, or for not joining, but for watching. Again, thank you, Dave, for joining. Amanda, thank you as always for co-hosting. Always a pleasure. If you have not been out there to check out the other candidate interviews that we've done on the Libertarian Party of Texas YouTube channel, please go do so. And stay tuned for the future, or stay tuned where we will have more interviews coming soon. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all take care.
Yay.